Hello everyone, I am Dr. Durdana Owais, Department of Commerce, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. In the last video lecture, we had studied about market structures, and in market structures, we had studied about perfect competition. In this video lecture, we are going to study about monopoly. As we had discussed that monopoly lies on the other end of the competitive continuum where it is having least competition. It is a type of market structure which is characterized by very few firms. So, this will be our topic for today. Have you heard of the firm Luxottica? Do you know that the world's 80% of eyewears are being produced by this company? Of course, under different heads, different brand names. Why? Have you heard about Microsoft? Of course. Do you know how much market share Microsoft is having? According to statistics, it is having more than 75% market share. Railways is another area where private investments are restricted. Indian government also does the same. Only last year FDI was allowed so, making it a sole producer or sole firm in the industry. Every one of us have heard about Google, which is equal to a search engine. Whereas there are other search engines also, but due to its technological advancement and algorithm that it uses, it has acquired a major share of the market. And of course, we all have heard about Facebook. Facebook is having a huge chunk of the market, so much that just last year it was imposed with restrictions to influence its customers towards a particular election. What is common amongst all these companies? First, they are having a major market share. A market share where they are having more than 70% of the market share is not matched by other competitors. Either they are having very few competitors or no competitors at all. That is the topic for today. That is monopoly. The word monopoly is derived from the Latin word mono meaning single, poly means to sell, that is single seller in the market, or we can say a market situation in which there is only one seller of a commodity. As a sole provider of the product, he has got market power without any competitors. As such, this firm has full control over the supply. This full control of the supply is due to another fact that there are literally no substitutes. And if the buyer want to purchase anything else, then they have to be satisfied with the product and the price being offered by this firm, or buyer does not have any choice because there are no substitute available in the market. Let's discuss the features of monopoly. The major feature of this kind of market structure is it is characterized by a single seller. This single seller is selling a unique product, a product which is not having any close substitutes. Because it is not having any close substitutes, it is also characterized by very less competition in the market. As such, times the firm in itself becomes the industry. When there is only a single firm operating in an industry, it becomes the equal to industry. And because it is having so huge power in the market, it is not a price taker but a price maker. This firm dictates the price and terms to its consumers. But even though this price maker dictates its own terms and price, the demand curve for this market structure is downward sloping. Why? Because even after having sole power, this entrepreneur, like any other rational entrepreneur, wants to have more money, more revenue. As such, if it wants to sell more product, the entrepreneur needs to reduce the price. And we know that as we reduce the price, the marginal revenue decreases. And when marginal revenue decreases, average revenue also decreases. When average revenue decreases, we have a downward sloping demand curve. And the last point is barrier to entry. This barrier can be in the form of patents, copyrights or economies of scale. Thus, we can say that monopoly market structure is one in which there is only one seller of the product which has no close substitutes. Moreover, due to the strong barriers to entry, the seller has full control over the market structure or supply of the product, which makes him a price maker. So, can we say that monopolies exist when cross elasticity of demand for a product of a single seller is very small or zero? Yes, because if there is a close substitute available, then when entrepreneur increases the price, consumers will purchase another product. But as this market structure is characterized by a single seller selling unique product, there are no close substitutes available. As such, the cross elasticity of demand will be small or zero. Let's come to causes of these monopoly. First and foremost, we see that monopoly powers are mostly due to legal restrictions. These legal restrictions can be in the form of copyrights, patents or government restrictions. Secondly, we also see that some firms enjoy monopolies due to sole control either over technology or over natural resources. And thirdly, due to the economies of scale or efficiencies, firms adopt this monopoly power in the economy. Coming to types of monopoly. The first type of monopoly that we see around is natural monopoly. Natural monopoly exists due to the fact that some regions enjoy a surplus of a particular resource like oil, natural gas. So, these areas have naturally more power over other areas, giving monopoly powers to the firms. Second is perfect monopoly. We see perfect monopoly where there is only single firm having sole power over the industry or market. Such perfect monopoly are very rare. Third is imperfect monopoly. We see imperfect monopoly in cases where although there are few firms, but we see one firm is having a huge chunk of market share. So, although there are other firms existing in the market, but one firm is having more power, which makes it an imperfect monopoly market structure. Next is legal monopoly. When any firm enjoys monopoly due to patents, copyrights, this type of monopoly is called as legal monopoly. Then comes state monopoly. When any product or services are strictly restricted by the government, then it is called as state monopoly. Only the government has the right to produce such products or services. Next in line is the government granted monopoly. When the government grants special rights or privileges to any producer or firm to produce any product or services, then it is called as government granted monopoly. Next is joint monopoly. When any firm undertakes other organization or firm of producing similar products, then it is called as joint monopoly, like in the case of Luxottica. And last is technological monopoly. This type of monopoly exists when the technological process is being held by a single firm. So, these were the type of monopolies. So, how does a monopoly holder decides that how much quantity he has to produce? Naturally, he would like to have the maximum quantity to be produced to be sold at a higher price. But what leads an entrepreneur to decide how much quantity? Remember, in perfect competition, we have discussed that where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue, that is the deciding point for the firm in perfect competitive market. The same rule is applicable in monopoly market structure. The monopoly holder will decide the optimum quantity to be produced at the point where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Here, the marginal cost curve intersects marginal revenue curve at point A. At point A, Q is the quantity that is the optimum quantity, because at point A, marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. If we extend this line to average revenue curve, we get the price. P is the price that the monopoly holder will set for Q quantity of output. Now, at this quantity, how much profit he is going to have? This is decided by the average total cost curve. The difference between average total cost and the average revenue decides how much profit or loss will be there for the monopoly holder. Here we see that producing Q quantity, the green line, that is the average total cost curve, intersects at a particular point. The difference between this is profit for the firm. So, which leads to another question: can the monopolist produce more or less than Q quantity? That is, can he decide to produce that I want to produce more than the optimum quantity, or I want to produce less than optimum quantity Q? What is going to happen? If the monopoly holder decides to produce lesser quantity than the optimum quantity, let us say Q1, what is going to happen? For producing Q1 quantity, the blue line intersects the marginal cost curve, which gives us price P. This price is definitely higher than the original price, that is P1. The monopoly holder would like to sell less but also at a higher price. But what do you find here? At this Q1 quantity or the lesser quantity than Q, marginal cost is less and marginal revenue is more, which shows that the entrepreneur still has efficiency left to produce more. And as every rational entrepreneur wants to use optimum efficiency, the entrepreneur or monopoly holder would like to have more output produced. As such, it would not be reasonable for him to produce lesser quantity. Now, suppose he decides to produce more than the optimum quantity, let us say Q2, that is the red line shown in the slide. If he decides to produce more than the optimum quantity, what is going to happen? Here we see that marginal cost is more than the marginal revenue, and of course he will have to set a lesser price to be able to sell this output. But will any entrepreneur like to have more cost than revenue? More cost and less revenue signifies loss. Will the entrepreneur want to have loss? Definitely no. So, again the best scenario for a monopoly holder is a point where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. But there is still one way where the monopoly holder, the king of the market, the sole power holder in the market, can have more revenue. That is price discrimination, where he can charge different price from different consumers. Like for example, consider a doctor. He can charge a lot of amount from a wealthy customer, not so much from an average customer. From a student, he will still charge a lesser amount taking into consideration his conditions, and towards senior citizens the doctor will charge the least. This difference in revenue or prices set by the doctor is called as price discrimination. Price discrimination is a pricing strategy that is adopted by a monopoly holder that charges customers different prices for identical goods or services according to certain criteria. It can also be called as an act of selling the same article produced under single control at a different prices to different buyers. According to Professor A.C. Pigou, this price discrimination can be of 3 degrees: the first degree price discrimination, the second degree price discrimination, and the third degree price discrimination. The first degree price discrimination is characterized by the fact that monopoly holder charges different price from different consumers. Second degree price discrimination is characterized by the fact that different prices are being charged on different quantities purchased by the consumers. And third degree price discrimination is one where prices are being charged according to certain criteria, and this criteria can be age, gender or economic status. The first degree price discrimination, the monopolist charges different prices from consumers, or we can say the maximum price they are willing and able to pay, just like in auction. In auction, the highest bidder pays, or the bidder pays according to his or her capacity. In the second degree price discrimination, a particular price is being set according to the number of quantities to be sold. Just take the example of single units being purchased and a box of chocolates that contains 150 chocolates. The price differs, and when the same product is purchased in bulk, the unit price decreases. It is also called as block pricing. In third degree price discrimination, we can say there exist different market structures. In one market structure, maybe the demand is relatively more elastic, and in another market structure, maybe the demand is less elastic. Just take the example of aviation industry, where for the same ticket in a flight, a senior citizen is being offered a different price, whereas an young adult is being offered a different price. This is due to the existence of different elasticities in different markets. So, can we say price discrimination can be done only when elasticity of demand is different for different buyers? Yes, of course. The monopoly holder can practice price discrimination only when there exists difference in elasticities of demand in different markets. As such, we can say that there are three main conditions for the practicing of price discrimination. The first being the firms must have market power. Unless and until they have market power, they won't be able to exercise this discrimination. Secondly, the firm must be able to recognize the difference in the market structures or the difference in demand in different markets. And thirdly, the firm must have the ability to prevent arbitration or resale of product. Like if Microsoft decides to discriminate based on age, then wouldn't the senior citizens purchase and sell to the younger ones? It's just a hypothetical situation. But this is the fact due to which Microsoft does not offer price discrimination based on gender. Summing up, in today's video lecture, we have discussed about market structure mainly about monopoly, and under monopoly we have studied the features of monopoly, the types of monopoly, the demand curve under monopoly, price discrimination, the three types of price discrimination, first degree, second degree, third degree, and last the conditions necessary for price discrimination. That was all for today's lecture. Keep learning, keep growing, and thank you.